Did you hear did it say now recording? Did
No,
it?
but it says it's recording up on the top left.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, Irene, thanks for meeting with me this morning. How are you doing today?
Hey, my pleasure. So far, so good.
Good. Good. I know you had a long night, so thanks for staying up to do this with me.
Happy to help.
Great. Thank you. So before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that this is a safe place and everything we talk about stays between you and I. Um, Obviously, if you were to say something, if I thought that you were going to hurt yourself or hurt other people, that'd be something that I would have to bring up with somebody just to make sure that everybody stays safe. Do you have any questions about that?
No, I can understand that. Thank you.
And is it okay if I record this conversation?
Sure, no problem.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks. Um, well, Irene, why don't you just start off and could you just tell me about yourself, where you're from, just a little bit about yourself?
Whew. I've lived all over. I was born and raised in Philadelphia. Um, um, I never know how to put this. After I graduated from high school, I wanted to sow my oats. I got out and I moved around and I traveled back and forth across the country a bunch of times. I don't know if it's I was an East Coast girl, but I was obsessed with the West Coast and I just wanted to be on that particular beach. So I made it there and I came back and I went back and forth a couple times, but I really couldn't afford it. And I always got myself into unsafe, kind of sketchy, crazy situations. So I randomly ended up in Arizona. Actually, it was after my I have no idea what number hospitalization or detox, but I woke up in a detox center, and my shrink, who had really gotten to know me there, suggested that they maybe send me out of town to try to get some recovery in me. Maybe it would help to get me out of there.
Sure.
And I said, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
They shipped me to Mesa, to a halfway house, and it was filled with like all these chicks that like had just got out of prison, and I was totally freaked out. And I ended up running away from there with my roommate. But it got me out of Philly, which ended up being a really, really good thing. Partly because I was just so scared and I didn't know anybody there. Um, so I kind of got into NA there. Thank goodness I found my way down to Tucson because I did not like Phoenix at all. It was just sketchy and tons of concrete. And it was the first place I ever experienced, 118 degrees. And I was like, this is not okay. When I got to Tucson, I got really into the clubbing and the bar scene, and I would go downtown every weekend and dance and take part in the ridiculous college kid drink specials. But I was the one that, I couldn't stop at a certain part of the night. So I ended up being a raging alcoholic after I had escaped from Philadelphia. So that took me to places I never really thought it would. Now I haven't had a drink for almost 10 years.
Wow.
And I'm not, it's not in the forefront of my mind anymore. I finally got to that point where I'm not a drinker and so glad about it. The whole process of like liking yourself more and getting to know yourself. It's hard to believe that I was such a danger to myself for such a long time. Yeah. Wow. So late bloomer, but happy.
Good for you. Wow, that's incredible. 10 years, that's a lot. Good for you.
I know. I never know how much to tell, Depending on who I meet, I'll make up something or tell them the real story,
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, 10 years, that's a lot of time. That's good for you. That's
learned a lot, thank goodness.
Right, yeah. And yeah, that's really relatable to all those the downtown drink specials. Those got me into a lot of trouble too. So.
Dangerous.
Very much so.
Yeah. Our downtown is still cool, but I go down there for very different reasons now, if I do.
Yeah, I go down there. Likewise, I go down to dance sometimes still too, but it's like, yeah, it's kind of funny to watch people. I'm like, oh, I used to be that guy. But
Yeah,
uh, so Irene, I know you
it
to
is
be.
a trip.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's up?
No, I was saying it's a trip. Go ahead, please.
So I know you to be somebody with a lot of strengths that are going to make you a great social worker. But but I'm curious what you see as your strengths that are will make you a good social worker.
um, True story. I never thought I really had any until after I got sober, which wasn't even that long ago. People would ask me what I was good at, and I would tell them drinking, and I thought it was really funny. And they'd always be like, "Oh," and I wouldn't get it. But it was having other people step up to the plate without any conditions and not wanting anything in return, you know, to say you can do this because I did it, and this is how I did it.
So,
And and it ended up being not just that one woman that first gave me her phone number, but this community that I got patched in with, you know? So it was that, it was them, it was these sober alcoholic ladies. And also on my many trips to hospitals, detox, rehabs, I met people all over the place that were there specifically for that job. And a lot of them had come from the same places that we kind of had. Um, but I was amazed. I thought it was like a superpower to be able to help somebody like that.
yeah,
I was amazed with their patience and the input that they gave me and the encouragement that came out of them so naturally. I was like, maybe I can make that my superpower too, because I had for so long I just wandered around. I never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up, you know?
mhm.
Completely lost. I had his experience with all these people. And I was like,
Yeah, it's amazing how those people come into our lives. It can really just change the course of our own life.
damn, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. And well, you just mentioned that you know you had experiences with people in the field who did a lot of help for you. Um,
Mhm.
is that one of the reasons that you wanted to become a social worker then, or like, or what other reasons led you to this field?
Um, no, well, it was absolutely those people
Yeah.
first and foremost. Um, those were probably the first professionals that I had ever spoke with that I didn't feel like were judging me when I spilled out my story to them. And and I wasn't really into people until after I got sober. I was afraid. I was afraid of everybody. You know, I judged everybody's insides by their outsides. I thought everybody had it figured out except for me. So, but when I got sober, I became much more fascinated by people.
Hmm.
You know, their stories taught me stuff all the time, and I was so grateful that they were willing to share them with me. I knew I wanted to work with people.
Wow.
For a while, I thought I would go into nursing because I come from a long line of nurses, but my fascination with pharmaceuticals finally jumped up and down and said, "Don't do this." So, so I just here.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah. Then
If I was so unsure and I was so full of questions for so long and just lost, it's pretty cool. I feel finally more comfortable in that decision. Like, yeah, I think I can do this. I can find my place here.
yeah. Do you find yourself questioning it sometimes? Like, am I in the right field or?
I I tend to overthink things that are really important to me for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm still practicing, you know, not allowing myself to experience as much self-doubt as I used to. But the more that I prove to myself that I can do, the more stoked I am and more optimistic and confident about doing more.
Sure.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is because I find myself still doing that too, and um, I have a similar
Yeah.
experience. So the more I question it, and the more I remind myself that I am on the right path, the the stronger my resolve and desire to be a social worker becomes.
Yeah. It's still kind of a new thing to
Yeah,
be able to say that to myself. Awesome.
that's a cool thing. it's a good thing to stay green, as they say, right?
Yes, and always learning. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, there's so much to learn in this field too. I know we've talked about that, but there's just like it's such a broad and deep field. It's just yeah, I'm really glad. I'm excited about our field of study.
I really am. I always wanted to do. All I ever knew was I wanted to do something that never got boring. And
Yeah,
I just think with the opportunities to travel and do different positions and constantly learn or about teaching other, heck yeah.
for sure. Yeah, because that's the one thing every professor I've noticed, from PIMA and then at ASU, every professor always hits home about is there's so much you can do. And each professor, when they give you, for the most part, when they give you their career experience, it's well, they've worked with like 5 or 6 different populations. It's like,
Yeah, I'm always like,
yeah, likewise.
which is kind of reassuring, is because like we talked about not knowing exactly where I see myself in this field yet exactly because it keeps changing all the time.
Mhm.
But when I get to speak with other people that have had more experience about it, yeah, yes.
Yeah,
You don't necessarily have to know it first,
exactly.
and you can switch around. Thank goodness.
So much to do in this
It's a good
field.
thing.
So,
It's good because I hate commitment, so.
yeah, I've been known to feel that same way. So what concerns do you have about the field, if any?
um, I don't. I I'm I'm concerned with meeting people that and not being able to start rapport with someone that I don't really feel like I could relate to, or vice versa. I'm I'm obsessed with like being culturally competent since we learned about it.
Sure, sure.
And it's what I'm constantly reading and talking about and watching videos about. So I'm worried that I don't know. I'm worried I don't know. Not so much that I'll embarrass myself,
Might
that
offend.
I could unintentionally offend someone until I learn the right way to do stuff.
Yeah,
And it's a little scary, like learning about ethical dilemmas. Like it's a little scary the idea that it's cool that there is a whole process because that makes me feel more confident about it. But the possibility of like, if it's a real big thing, what if I make the wrong choice? But then again, it sounds like we'll always have other people to check with, so
yeah,
that's reassuring as well. I just want to do a good job, man.
yeah,
you know. But the more we practice, I feel better about it.
good, yeah. And I'm sure you'll do a great job. I'm not worried about you, Irene.
Thank you. I'm going to quote you on that.
Yeah, and it's. I think there's something to the fact that you do take it so seriously. The fact that it is so important to you to be culturally competent and that ethical dilemmas, how to handle them properly is so important to you. That says a lot. I remember somebody told me when I was about to become a father, they said, because I was freaking out, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm going to mess this human being up.
Oh, how scary.
Well, yeah, the person said the fact that you're thinking that way means you're going to be good because it means that it's important to you. And so that means you're going to, and so, the fact that the fact that you have these concerns means those things are important to you. And so clearly it would seem to me anyway, that you're going to do what you need to do to make sure that you're beyond competent in these areas.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Duh.
From an
That's
outsider's
pretty cool.
perspective.
Always helps. Yes. I have a lot of epiphanies when other people state the obvious to me and I hadn't realized it yet.
I have similar experiences. Um, what about any concerns that you have about this course in particular, or 311 and 312?
I'm really enjoying this course. I'm really enjoying the professor. I love her energy and I love how like she'll kind of like change the cadence of how she speaks, like depending on what she's talking about. Have you noticed that? And I really like that. Like, and I can see her working, one-on-one with people and really having like a nice calming effect on people.
Okay, so
Um, I was, but I'm all caught up on everything right now, so I feel good about it. I was a little anxious about the whole separate class to do all the practice stuff and group work. Okay. I have so much fun in group work, but whenever I hear it proposed, I'm like, oh, God, here we go.
yeah,
But then I do it and I have lots of fun.
same here. That's
So I've had some not so great experiences. Last semester I had this experience where like doing group papers. Nah, I'm not down with that at all. Like I totally had the experience of one person just swore that she had no idea what she was supposed to do, and I told her 500 times, and then I ended up staying up late and doing the entire part that she was supposed to do.
that's frustrating.
It sucked. It sucked. Like I don't really feel like it's my place to tell anybody to step up their game. I like to think we're all on the same page, but
Yeah,
you're
even
effing, you're effing with my grades right now,
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
we have cool stuff that we talk about. So that concern has pretty much been laid by the wayside for the most part.
Okay. And so, well, getting away from school for a little bit, what do you enjoy doing in your spare time? What does Irene do when she has any spare time, if any?
Uh, I don't have much spare time,
Yeah, I know you work a lot.
um, but I pretty much nerd it up when I'm not completely consumed by schoolwork like I am right now. Literally, I have piles of books like this, like stuff that I'll hear about throughout the semester that I want to find out more about. All of my books about cultural competence. I'm reading like all these memoirs and history books and
Nice,
reading.
nice.
In the background, there's always music jamming because that was just like the house that I grew up in, and that my mom still rocks out like that. There's always music on. I'm talking to my dog. When it's nice out, we're outside as much as we possibly can.
Very cool.
I really enjoy not rushing around and slowly taking care of things. So, hiking, reading, cooking, kind of a homebody these days, which I'm totally okay with. You know, it strikes me as just like the safer thing to do.
Absolutely.
But I'm pretty nerdy and happy with it.
Very cool. Very cool. I like that too. Not rushing around. That's an important skill that I've been learning too.
Oh, nice. Like you ever go to the grocery store and there's a huge line, and a little man comes up behind you and he has like milk.
Mhm.
So I'll be like, if that's all you have, please just go ahead. And they're always like shocked.
Mhm.
And I love being able to say that I am not in a hurry today.
Yeah, I know it's a good gift to give to ourselves too. We're giving, we're doing it for the other person, but ultimately we're giving that to ourselves too. Like, oh,
You
I'm
know what?
not. I get to
When
slow.
I did when I didn't really have a lot to do, I swear I was in a hurry all the time.
Down.
Well, I don't want to, have my activities impeded by someone else's needs. Ugh.
Yeah, I
I
know
like not being in a hurry.
it's a pretty profound thing too. We have more time, like, yeah.
Part of my nerdiness and that whole thing is like with schoolwork, I'm obsessed with staying just a little bit ahead if I can,
Hmm.
you know, just in case.
Sure.
Just in
No,
case. Because I have lots of other friends in this courses that are always doing stuff the night before. And even when they tell me that they're doing it, it stresses me out because I hate the feeling of it so much.
seriously.
I'm like, I don't rock like that anymore.
Yeah, that was me last semester, and I've noticed this semester I'm much better at it, and it's improved my overall. Like, I feel so much better. But kudos to you, because I know you work so much, and then to be able to stay on top, to stay ahead of your schoolwork too, that's really admirable to me. Because last semester I was working full time, and I was just doing and I was just like, how are people staying ahead? Like, so yeah,
I know.
kudos.
And and I've got to say, thank you so much for that. But I've got it hooked up. Like I figured it out.
Yeah.
Um, working at night right now, I will have like a solid 5 hours not interrupted. Like I've got an awesome setup.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I get almost all my work done there.
Very cool.
Because I tried the first couple of semesters of being back to school, I'm just too distracted at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just not that disciplined. So
It's tough for
I've
me.
got it hooked up. Hopefully it'll maintain. Knock on wood.
Yeah. I hope that does remain. That's a cool.
Mm.
So, aside from student and worker, what roles do you play in life?
Oh, I'm a sister for sure. Older sister. A daughter. I'm an auntie, which is pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, because I never really wanted to have kids myself, and I've always liked kids as long as I could like give them back later.
Sure. Yeah.
So now there's like these really cute kids that I can play with and always give them back later and then take full credit of for them. Like I'll be like, oh, look at my niece, look how beautiful they are, and then like I'll take full credit for it somehow. It's pretty cool. I like being auntie.
Once you smell the diaper or something, you're like, here you go, take it back.
Good job. Here you go. It sounds corny, but dog mom. I've always wanted to be a dog mom. When me and my brothers and sisters were little, my mom was super allergic to like any animals with fur, really.
Mm.
So as soon as any of us moved out, we all got dogs, right?
Oh, very cool.
So my mom thought she would only have grand dogs for instead of grandchildren for a long time. Luckily, that's not the case anymore. But it's also a position that had me really stressed out too. It's funny because I was like the official AA dog sitter and dog walker for quite a while. And then and I decided I was going to take that big step. And I worried about it to the point where I actually had panic attacks, like leaving my dog in the apartment. I did not know what to do. I felt really guilty and all twisted up about it. So that whole experience has taught me a lot too. He's a good influence on me.
Cool. Yeah,
We just went for a walk in the rain, and now he's curled up already, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do that in a little bit too.
very nice.
He just goes with the flow. It's awesome. So I'm a daughter, sister, student. I don't know, a late bloomer. I would say a late bloomer, a sober woman, and I'm trying to be a sober woman of integrity. And I'm getting there. Like there's stuff that I don't even try to do that just naturally happens in the process. You know, like I used to be really proud of my lying ability. I thought it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I've stopped lying, it's so much more freeing and so much easier that I physically can't. Like my stomach turns and like it's like internal alarms go off. So having experiences of seeing people that just lie constantly, I'm like, man, that person is really sick. Not saying any names, 45, but they're really sick people. I'm just not okay with that anymore, which is pretty cool. So I was like, is there some kind of process I'm supposed to adhere to make that happen? And I just remember these ladies saying, no, it's just happened. Just watch. I was like, in this case, I was okay with them being right. So.
Right.
But it's cool though. Like, I think most of those roles I've always been, but they feel a little bit different now. You know, obviously I've always been a sister and a daughter, but now I'm a sister and a daughter that my siblings or my mom will actually call for like advice.
Sure.
Or for like if they're going through some stuff and they want to talk to me about it. And that's like the coolest thing ever. You know, like I wasn't written off as a sister or a daughter.
Yeah. That is really cool.
So rad.
Yeah. Well, it's because you're honoring those positions now. You're a,
oh my God, yes.
You're being a daughter. You're being a sister. You're not just, yeah. Oh, very cool.
I'll always be thankful that I didn't kill off all the brain cells I thought I
did. You and me both, my friend. You and me both. Well, if you're comfortable with it, what's one fact about yourself that people may find surprising?
I didn't cheat. I didn't think about this. Um, I don't know. I'm really wimpy. I can't spicy food. Um,
That's okay.
my main fear in life is sharks, but I live in the desert, so it doesn't matter. Um,
Well,
God, I
you've
can't
chosen
think
a
of
good place
anything.
to live.
I think I I really just think of like the person, the previous version of myself
Sure.
as compared to now. Like that those people were the same person, kind of.
Hmm. Wow, that's really
That
profound.
I used to never like myself or other people. Other people are fascinating.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, they really are.
it's true.
Well, Irene, thank you for sharing all that with me. I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks for letting me spill my guts. I never know how much I'm going to say, but thanks for listening.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, it's been an honor. Yeah, let's talk soon, okay?
I'll see you next time.
Mm-hmm.